what's happened in the past is a kid's raised his voice and gotten a little angry, and we're like, that's it, calm down.
This is Eric Nachtigal with the ESSDACK Resilience Team, and I am here with the delightful and wonderful
Ginger Lewman? That's hard to say after you said delightful and wonderful. Yes, it is the delightful and wonderful Ginger Lewman.
She is delightful and wonderful, folks. Don't let her tell you any other thing.
We'll see.
But we are part of the resilience team here at ESSDACK, and we are here for another edition of Quick Bites, and we're so happy you joined us today. We're talking about a tough topic today.
Yes.
Moving towards 100% elimination of seclusion and restraint. So here's how we're going to start, from thinking as a teacher, who teaching stuff and got a teacher out there saying, I get it. Seclusion and restraint harms kids. And yet, as a teacher, sometimes I still have to come to work and face the kid today who beat me up yesterday. That's hard.
Yeah, absolutely. So how do I keep myself safe? How do I keep the other kids safe without the use of those tools, seclusion and restraint? Because even in our hearts, when we know that it's not right and that it is not good for kids, if I don't have a replacement tool, and let's say I do know the replacement tool, but I'm not good at it yet. Or let's say I know the replacement tool, but I haven't yet had a chance to build that with the kid where they're practicing, right? Can we stop cold turkey? I want to. I want us to be able to be like, yes, today we make the decision of the call. We are never using this again because we know it harms kids. And there's a reality that looks us in the face who's not happy and is really injured right now and coming at me. Right? And I want to point out right now that this is something we believe. We don't want a seclusion and restraints. That we're not advocating for this at all. If you don't know, you should probably go check out the Alliance Against Seclusion and Restraint. It's put together by a whole team, but really it's Guy Stevens, who's done a lot of amazing work nationally, internationally in this region. I want you to go take a look at their website, endseclusion.org. And yet, I'm called into schools to work with paras who are wearing permanent scars, and they're learning the process. And so when I come in and say, we're not doing that anymore, that's so hard because they're like, well, screw you. I'm not going to listen. Can I say that? I just said it. We're not going to listen to you anymore. And they never say that, by the way. They never say that word. But, I can feel it when they're like, are you kidding me? There are some times when I have to keep other kids safe. And is it, because this is a real situation that I've dealt with very recently in a school where I got called in. That's where this content comes from, friends, is us being in schools, responding to real teachers in real situations. And this, they had got a parent complaint in a special education program where the kid was highly dysregulated, and they cleared the room of other students. And the parent said, hey, you cannot seclude my daughter. You can't do it. The ADA says that's against the law. And they said, Ginge, what do we do? And I had a lot of questions. I said, well, I don't know. Do we wait until that kid, based on their history, goes ahead and hurts another kid? And how are we going to field that parent's call? That you knew that things were ramping up based on data that had happened before. And so they used seclusion. I'm not going to talk about restraints on this because that's not a quick bite. But yeah.
That is so hard.
It is.
That is so hard. And again, straight from the field, straight from going to school, straight from my personal education career and wanting every single child to be safe and never wanting to seclude or restrain a child, never put hands on. Totally agree with all that.
It traumatizes kids.
It hurts kids. It traumatizes. And evacuating a room to keep the child who's in their downstairs brain dysregulated, as well as everybody else, to me seems like a good idea. And there are nuances to saying, oh, that is seclusion. Because I'm picturing a picture.
Are there nuances, or is there a law that defines it?
Well, there is a law.
Yeah.
But I'm picturing, and here's where we're talking, I guess, I'm picturing, yes, we cleared a room. And yes, the child who's in their downstairs brain, who we need to use, downstairs brain strategies to help get back in upstairs brain, is in that room. Maybe the social worker, maybe the counselor, maybe just a simple caring adult that the child is connected with. Maybe the administrator comes in. Maybe more than one person comes in, and somebody's co-regulating. Someone's standing off. This is not blocking the door. The door's open. The child can leave if they want. I wonder, is that within the law? Is that still seclusion, or is that caring adults trying to keep the class safe while honestly doing co-regulation with the child?
That's
now, don't
a
get me
beautiful
wrong.
question.
You have two adults blocking the door and just the child and another adult trying to help the child. Could that be seclusion? Yeah, 100%.
And let's also look at the data, though. What if this is a kid who has a history of bolting and then hurting other kids in other classrooms, in the hallways and that sort of thing, right? And so we really want to be careful. This is a fine line. Is in schools, seclusion is the involuntary confinement of a child alone in a room or area from which they cannot physically leave, often in a space like a closet or office or padded room, even if they're monitored, right? It's involuntary. They didn't choose to be there. It's alone or with staff preventing their exit. It's an enclosed space. They're prevented from leaving. And so what we want to be really careful about is a term that's called imminent danger, right? Because what's happened in the past is a kid's raised his voice and gotten a little angry, and we're like, that's it, calm down. And now we put him in this calming down space, which is seclusion. And that is definitely not okay. That is not imminent danger. And imminent danger does have a definition too. Do I have it on my fingertips here, or did I lose it? Right. I do have it at my fingertips.
Because that imminent danger, I think the other challenging part of that is you better know the definition by the law.
Yes.
Because if you're just an adult trying to justify imminent danger, you get in a slippery slope, and that's not okay either. And
if I'm scared because of something that's happened in my past, that this kid's going to pick up a chair and throw, I might say it's imminent danger when maybe it isn't. And if this kid's never had the history or repeated history, if just because you've done it once, listen, I'm going to say out loud, I've thrown a chair when I'm mad.
Doesn't mean you're going to do it again.
Every time I get mad doesn't mean I'm going to throw a chair. Right. So this is something that we want to think about. Imminent danger is when a student poses an immediate threat of serious physical injury to themselves, self-harm, or others, hitting, biting, and attacking. And so in this situation, I talked to the staff, and I said, gosh, I don't have answers because I don't know the kid and I don't know the scenarios, right? But what I do recommend is that let's gather some data. This kid's on an IEP. Let's get the team together and say, what is imminent danger? What does that look like for this kid as she's starting to ramp up? Let's define that. And then when we see these things, what are some better strategies that we're going to use? And if those are not working, then what's our next level before we say clearing the room or whatever we're going to do? And how can we start sooner before the disruptions happen? Again, the school cannot say, I believe this with all my heart. And you know what? If you think I am wrong, it's America. You're welcome to. However, I can't tell a school with any sort of being able to look at myself in the mirror in the morning and saying, you're not allowed to use seclusion and restraints anymore because it does harm to kids, without them having an adequate time to prepare for a different way of approaching kids who are harming kids and teachers. By the way, we say every seclusion and restraints traumatizes kids.
The adults too.
Yes.
Everybody.
And adults deserve to not get beat up at work. It's all right, well, it's part of your job. Don't be one if you don't. That's not okay either. So this is a community coming together to say, let's make a plan ahead of time so we're not reacting.
I think that's what I hear you saying the most right now, Ginger, is that
How do we get away from it?
How do we get away from it? We know what the right thing. We know
Yes.
the harm. We don't believe in it. We want to get away from it 100%. And what's that best path? And what are those preventative, proactive plans? And I'm going to use the word with because I think it's so important here that we can make with everybody involved. Even the kid.
Even the kid.
The caregivers of the kid.
100%.
What is the plan that we're coming together and doing with everybody to try to avoid these situations by putting good neuro-informed, trauma-informed practices in place? I think that's the biggest picture right there.
Listening, educating. And when we say, okay, so then what would be on the plan, y'all? Hello, listen to the rest of our episodes. It's all about that, right? It's the polyvagal theory. It's doing our sensations work. It's the relationship building. It's the connecting before when we're still regulated. So then we're making the connection so that the kid feels that they can trust us when we start to do these other strategies with them.
Oh my gosh.
That's
yes.
what this is, friends. And again, you may come at me with a pitchfork and an axe and tell me I'm a horrible human being, and it's your right to. And if you do, gosh, please just tell me. Don't go talking to other people. Come and talk to me, and let's have a conversation about it, because I don't know everything. There's probably something I hadn't thought about, but that's my best approach right now in the reality that is today's classrooms. Not an ideal, but what is truly happening right now. I can't point to a perfect spot in the world and say, you better be there now. Because it's demotivating for people who are in the trenches every day.
Yeah, folks, this is a worthy and important topic to continue to talk about for the safety, emotional well-being of adults, kids, and all of education. So thank you for joining us on this. Like Ginger said, reach out to us. We love to wrestle with these topics because we think they're super important. So,
and Eric's retiring soon, so he's unafraid. He's unafraid. And I'm just me. I love to wrestle. I've been wrong.
I love to wrestle too. And then I'm going to take a little break from wrestling. So if you weren't sure, the world out there listening, that Mr. Eric is retiring, it is true. So, but I will miss the quick bites with Ginger Lewman most of all, I think.
We're going to get as many in as we can.
So, hey, thanks for joining us on this episode of Quick Bites, and we'll be back with more soon. Thanks so much.